Okay, so last time we talked about the way in which Moses is interceding on behalf of the people to the face of God, how he's very different from how Aaron appears in the text. In this one, I want to do chapter 33 because chapter 33 is really going to set up the intimacy that we see between Moses and God. And I think that was what's going on in chapter 32, is to show us the way in which Moses has really come into his own with regards to being a prophet of God. We've watched him stumble in various ways throughout, but now there's really a closeness there. We're going to see it in chapters 33, 34. We're going to go through chapter 33 on this one, but we're really setting it up for chapter 34 because that's where you get the full expression of this relationship. I can't say face to face because the text tells us no one can see God face to face and live. Great. But it really is almost this face to face relationship that Moses has with God. And chapter 33 sets it up really beautifully for us. So I'm going to read through a good portion of the text. I'll stop whenever we start to get into things. But we need to set it up. I don't want to skip over things. So chapter 33, verse 1. And the Lord said to Moses, "Go head up from here, you and the people," I just love it, "that you brought from the land of Egypt." Oh, it's just beautiful. God reminding Moses, like, they're your responsibility, man. "To the land that I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob," which is then God saying what? You go do your responsibility because what? I'm going to do my responsibility. I made a promise. I'm going to keep a promise. For me to keep a promise, you have to go to this people and bring them into that promise. That's essentially what this looks like. I will be there howsoever I will be there. "I swore to Isaac and Jacob, saying, to your seed I will give it, and I shall send a messenger before you, and I shall drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey. But I shall not go up in your midst, for you are a stiff-necked people, lest I put an end to you on the way." I can't go in your midst. I will destroy you. And now it's like, what are we even talking about? It's like, why can't you control your wrath or your anger? I don't think that's what we're getting at. There was a brutality that we saw in the last lecture of putting down 3,000 men by the sword. But whenever he says, I can't come into your midst, I really think this is kind of a priestly writing where you get the notion of the clean and the unclean. Ask yourself this, for those of you who know Scripture. What happens when you touch the Ark of the Covenant and you're not worthy? You die. Struck down. What happens if you're the Philistines and you bring the Ark of the Covenant into your camp? Turns out you're just attacked by plagues. It doesn't have to be the wrath of God. It's what happens when the unclean comes into the contact with the clean. That's why God says to them, don't touch the mountain. It's not don't touch the mountain because if you touch it, I'm going to strike you down. No, it's you're not clean. Don't touch the mountain because you can't actually, your uncleanness will be burned by the glory, the kavod, the glory of God, which in Second Temple Judaism and lots of apocalyptic Judaism, i.e. Christianity, that's known as the fire of God. That's when you think about St. Paul talking about burnishing gold and fine metals or burning away wood and straw. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the kavod of God. I can't come down into their midst because I'll just torch them. Not because I want to, but because they're a stiff-necked people. They aren't receptive to holiness. That's going to be the refrain that one sees in Leviticus. I almost said we're going to see in Leviticus, but it's going to be a long time before we go through Leviticus. One of my favorite books of the Bible, by the way. I love Leviticus. And once you understand this sort of holiness code, that only the clean can come in contact with the clean, only the pure can come in contact with the pure, then you understand certain threats like this. It's not I'll destroy you if I come down there because you disgust me and I can't wait for my wrath to flare. Rather, it's I am holy. You have a command, so go be holy, but you're not holy and the unholy cannot come into contact with the holy. All right. So I just want to clarify that line. Sorry, I told you we were going to read through it, but I can't help myself sometimes. And the people heard this evil thing and they mourned, and none of them put on their jewelry. It's going back to that jewelry which they gave to make their idol. Now they're mourning. And the Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people. If but a single moment I were to go up in your midst, I would put an end to you. And now put down your jewelry from upon you, and I shall know what I should do with you. And the Israelites stripped themselves of their jewelry from Mount Horeb onward. They're obedient. And just think about, what's this jewelry from? It's from their exodus. It was booty from the war that God waged on their behalf. But they used that booty for idolatry. And he's like, get rid of it. It's too much for you. You can't handle it. Toss it to the side, and it turns out they do. This is nuts to me. I think these first 6 verses of chapter 33, I think they're just insane. The way in which they just follow God here. And notice they follow him because he's saying, I can't come down in your midst. That worries them. Why did they go to idolatry in the first place? Moses was taking too long coming down. What does God say? I'm not coming down in your midst. They panic. And he's like, get rid of your jewelry. Yes, we will. Will you please come down? Remember, Aya, Asher, Ire. I will be there howsoever I will be there. If you have a God and that's his name, I will be there howsoever I will be there. And that same God, you can't stand in his presence because he's too holy and you're not, then guess what? You don't want that God to be. I will be there howsoever I will be there. They're actually abiding by God's name. They want him to come in their midst. This is important. It really is setting us up for chapter 34. Okay. I love these chapters of Exodus. And Moses would take the tent and pitch it for himself outside the camp, far from the camp. And he called it the tent of meeting. And so whosoever sought the Lord would go out to the tent of meeting, which was outside the camp. And so when Moses would go out to the tent, all the people would rise, and each man would station himself at the entrance of this tent. And they would look after Moses until he came to the tent. Notice now Moses is acting what? He's their prophet. On behalf of God, what do they have? Moses. And why is Moses so important to them now? Because God cannot come into their midst. He'll torch them if he does. We've got Moses. We can't take on God fully, but we've got a prophet. Let him sit in this tent. And so when Moses would come to the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and stand at the entrance of the tent. There's our Exodus image. And speak with Moses. This is insane. There's that cloud that was there with us in the Exodus. Look at the way it speaks to Moses. God can't come down in our midst. We'll be torched. But he can talk to Moses. And then we can go talk to Moses. And all the people would see the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance to the tent. And all the people would rise and bow down, each man at the entrance of his tent. Notice, bow down to a cloud. You're like, oh, that sounds like idolatry. Indeed it does. Except this is maybe proper. Bow down, that's reverence. What do we know? What does Abraham do whenever God tells him you're going to have a son? He flings himself down. Bow down. What does Moses do? Takes off his sandal. You bow down in front of that burning bush. That's what they're doing. Verse 11. And the Lord would speak to Moses, here it is, face to face, as a man speaks to his fellow. That's how intimate this relationship has become. So when you're reading this and you're like, my goodness, it sure seems like Moses has become a God. Indeed, he has. He is the manifestation of the kavod, the glory of God on this earth. He is on behalf of God going to the people. He is on behalf of the people going to God. And he would return to the camp, and his attendant Joshua, son of Nun, a lad, there's a phrase for you, a lad, we've talked about it before, anything from the age of, 6 years old to about 37, 38 years old. So there's a nice little, for those of you who like your Christological, typological readings, we can say Joshua's around 30 years old. There, that'll make you happy. All right, great. Yeshua. Joshua would not budge from within the tent. All right. And Moses said to the Lord, "See, you say to me, bring up this people, yet you have not made known to me whom you will send with me. And you have not said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my eyes." I was like, I'm supposed to bring these people up, and you haven't told me who. And not only that, but we're actually not that close. Like, you're asking me to do very personal things, and are we really that personal? He's challenging God. I love it. I don't think God minds the challenge. Here's something I'll tell you from the Hebrew Bible. I think God loves a challenge. When we eventually get to the book of Job, you'll know that my response with regards to God coming out of the whirlwind, my first response to it is not that God's there to browbeat Job. That's not why he shows up. He shows up out of respect to Job. Job wants God to show up so he can answer questions. And guess what God does? I'm here. What questions do you have? I want to be clear on that. There is something. Just remember, Jacob's name is changed to Israel. He who wrestles with God and man and wins out. Tell me your name. Give me a blessing. You understand, there's a wrestling there that it seems the Hebrew Bible wants. There's got to be a pushing and pulling. I think that's what Moses is doing here. Verse 13. And now, if pray I have found favor in your eyes, let me know, pray your ways, that I may know you. Look at that, I may know you. That language of know, just remember, I may know you is the same verb that's used in Adam knew his wife Eve. It's an intimate phrasing. To know somebody can be conjugal relationship. Obviously, it's not what's going on here. But the important thing is to say, I know you intimately. That's what Moses is saying. That I may find favor in your eyes. I may know you so that I may find favor in your eyes. And see, for this nation is your people. Look at that intimacy. Like, let me come to know you better. For this nation is your people. It's not this people. It's not my people. It's your people. I want to come to know you. And indeed, to almost be your betrothed on behalf of the people, so that the people, your betrothed, can be there. We fed them the gold that was ground up when they committed idolatry, as if they were an adulterous nation. Great, they aren't anymore. Now they're coming to you. They gave up their jewelry. Let me come to you on behalf of your people in this intimate way. But for me to do that, I have to know you. I have to be intimately knowledgeable of who you are. And he said, God said, my presence shall go, and I will grant you rest. And he said to him, if your presence does not go, do not take us up from here. And how then will it be known that I have found favor in your eyes, I and your people? God's testing him again. It's like, I'm going to leave you. And he's like, but how will we know this? Will it not be by your going with us that I and your people may be distinguished from every people that is on the face of the earth? He's challenging him. God says, I won't come down in your midst. And Moses is like, how is your name? I will be there howsoever I will be there, and you won't be there. That makes no sense to me. Moses is pushing back. Moses is saying, I need to know these things so I can go on your behalf to the people. And I have to be able to know you intimately so I can go on behalf of the people to you. And how is anyone going to know that they're a distinguished people? They're not. No one's going to know that. How can other nations worship you if they don't know how powerful you are and the way you look out for your people? And the Lord said to Moses, this thing too which you have spoken I will do. I love it. He's like, okay, I'll give in again. Remember, whenever Moses like, I can't speak very well. I've got a thick tongue. I'm just not well spoken. And the Lord's anger flared against Moses. And then he acquiesces and does what Moses was like, I'll give you Aaron. Notice, Moses just is pushing. And it turns out that's what God wants. He wants pushing. He wants this. So this thing too which you have spoken I will do, for you have found favor in my eyes, and I have known you by name. There's that intimacy there. I'll do you a solid, like we're good friends. And that's nice, isn't it? To have friends who can actually do favors for you. I'll do this for you. And he said, show me, pray, your glory. There it is, the kavod of God. I speak of it all the time. The kavod of God, that glory of God. What would I say? The kavod of God is a particle of God. It is God, just not in his fullness. Moses wants to know, what is this thing? And he said, I shall make my goodness pass in front of you, and I shall invoke the name of the Lord before you. Hey, Moses, you want to know the name of God? Here it is. I'm going to show you my glory. I'm going to give you my name. You need to know this stuff. I'll let you know it. And I shall grant grace to whom I grant grace, and have compassion for whom I have compassion. And God said, you shall not be able to see my face, for no human can see me and live. Oh, there it is. And notice, and a lot of you are going to be, students all the time ask me this. They hate whenever the Bible contradicts itself, but you're just reading it too literally and not, I don't know, you're just not being poetic enough. Verse 11, let's just go back. This is 33, verse 11. And the Lord would speak to Moses face to face. Verse 20, you shall not be able to see my face, so for no human can see me. And I don't know what to tell you. If you think the Bible contradicts itself, great. All it means is, I think, is that Moses and God are intimate. Whenever he says, no man can see my face, I think what that means is they can't be exposed to the full glory of God. The reason I can't come down into Israel in my glory, I will incinerate them. Because unless you're wholly good, no pun intended, but unless you're wholly good, you can't bear my holiness. It burns anything that is unclean. That's it. That's all that means. All right. And the Lord said, look, there is a place with me, and you shall take your stance on the crag. And so when my glory, kavod, passes over, I shall put you in the cleft of the crag and shield you with my palm until I have passed over. And I shall take away my palm, and you will see my back, but my face will not be seen. All right, this is actually really important. You cannot see the face of God. You can't see God in the fullness of his glory. Not even Moses. You shall see my backside. And not only that, I'll cover you. My glory is so glorious, so all-consuming, that I've got to actually block your eyes. You can see my backside. But the most important thing, I think, to take away from here, and do with this what you will metaphysically, maybe we can talk about it next time. In fact, we will. But seeing the backside of God, and I don't know your theological traditions, so I don't know how you guys will ever work this out. But seeing the backside of God is still literally seeing God. Say it again. Seeing the backside of God, the glory of God, is still literally seeing the glory of God. The fullness, the faceness, no, but it's still God. That's important. It's not an analogy of God. It's not a messenger of God. It's not an intermediary of God. It is, in fact, God. And what does that mean? To be in the presence and to see, which then means to take in the glory of God. And that's what we'll get into in chapter 34 next time. So, till next time.